And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the MTMV main card with your man, the myth, the legend, the voice. And you can not only see me and hear me, but you can see something going on.
Nah,
It's
there
my
you go.
my green screen is acting up, but you can see the signature collection. So get your signature shirts at mtmvpn.com. I am joined as always by my verbal sparring partner, my mano imano, the Iron One, who's also Teddy Bear Fluffy, Wildress Ruffin.
I don't know what to say, man. That was a great intro, but the fact that you got a shirt, it's like you famous, and I need to be part of that. So
I mean, it's a lot of people with shirts that are not famous.
when I blow up to I'm trying to have my own shirt with my own hoodie and everything like you got. You know what I'm saying? You already gave yourself the interest, but I'm gonna do what I do normally. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the man, the myth, the legend, the voice. You hear his voice, you know his voice. You see his t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? Go get the shirt and support the brand, MTMV Sports. Voice, how you feeling today?
Uh, as I shared a bit before we
Mhm.
began taping, um, it's been a day. It's been
Right.
a day, and I have not. I've had my highs, and they've been very high. Like
Mhm.
when I went out to the mailbox to get this, that was a wonderful high. And I've had my lows, and they've been very low. But I'm encouraged to keep pushing forward. And at this moment, right now, I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm grateful for that.
Definitely, definitely. I'm always praying for you, brother. You are a constant inspiration. Me, a definitely a podcast mentor. So whatever you need, I'm here. So
Appreciate
while
it.
we got this time, we're gonna, give you a few moments to do your thing and be in your element. And we'll definitely continue to pray for whatever's going on. So uh let's just go ahead and get into it, man. KOs and low blows. Now, one of your favorite fighters is back. And I always say one of your favorite fighters. Floyd Money Mayweather. He's back in the ring. He's going to be
That's right. We
facing.
got a couple of my favorite fighters.
Oh, yeah, we do have a couple today. He's going to be facing Aaron Chalmers at the O2 Arena in London during his exhibition tour, which is going to be his first time fighting in Britain. Now, already some fans are complaining about the price. I looked it up, and it looks like the uh, U.S. equivalent is like $39.08. So I don't know how true that is, but they're definitely complaining about the price. One thing I wanted to ask you, Voice, with Floyd constantly doing these exhibitions and people feeling like he still has it, is there anyone right now that we want to see Floyd truly fight that's not an exhibition while he still has it?
Well, when you posed this question pre-show, I was like, because I don't think he still has it.
Mm,
And there's another person very well acquainted with him that doesn't believe he still has it either. And that's Floyd himself. He said, look, I'm not fighting any former champions. I'm fighting YouTubers and MMA fighters because I know I can whoop them. I'm not fighting Pacquiao, which I would love to see. I'm
mm,
not fighting. And I know that Broner has said, hey, and he fights this weekend as well. Broner said, hey, let's if we're doing exhibitions, let your little brother get in and do something. Um, yeah, and Julius agrees with me. Floyd is too old. He doesn't have it. And like I said, Floyd said himself, I ain't got it. So is there anyone I want to see him fight?
mm.
No. Am I glad that some people are complaining about the cost? Yeah. Now, like you said, in US dollars, it's like about 39.
Mm.
But you have to remember where the fight is taking place, who is being marketed to, and the cost that goes with that. This is in the UK. UK pay-per-views are like I said, like for real pay-per-views,
Yeah.
they're probably around that much, if not maybe a little bit lower. to watch Floyd fight Aaron Chalmers, who is well known. If you don't know about him, he was on like the equivalent of Jersey Shore in the UK.
I saw that. It was called like Giori Shore or something like that.
I don't
He's
know.
a, he's a he's a part-time MMA fighter also.
Yeah, yeah, he's fought in Bellator a number of times and has been victorious. He's looked good when he's fought.
Mhm.
So, he's known because of those things, but it's an exhibition fight. Do you really want to pay that kind of money for an exhibition fight?
But okay, and you're right. He's not going to jump there with a season fighter, and Julius makes a good point also. But is he tainting his legacy by doing this? Like, I mean, he's continuously doing. I get it. You're doing it for the money, and people are always going to pay. But
So they're
at
not
some,
always going to pay. And the fact
as,
that they're complaining means that we may be moving closer to the day that
oh,
this money train, pardon the pun, comes to a stop.
how many years did we complain about Mike Tyson fights being $100 and he knocking people out in the second round, and we still pay for them?
But that was real fights. How many can you name two Mike Tyson exhibition fights before the past 5 years?
Oh no, because
Right,
Mike wasn't
exactly.
doing it. So
He was fighting exhibition fights, but nobody paid attention to him. To pay this much for an exhibition is where, which that's happened for years and years. You take it back to the 1900s, but to pay this much for an exhibition is where people are having trouble.
yeah, I don't.
I don't know about that, Mr. Incorporated, because he said himself, I'm not the time when Floyd said, I'm not fighting any champions was when he was scheduled to fight on a rising card. And you know who made an appearance at that rising card?
Yep.
Manny Pacquiao. And he said, look, nope, don't look for me to get in there with him or any other former champions. I'm not fighting former champions. Because as soon as we saw it, it's like, ooh, we love to see that in rising.
Floyd said he tired. Exactly. They're always going to pay to see Floyd Mayweather. I don't, and it's not a knock on him. I just don't know why. You know what you're going to get in a Floyd Mayweather fight, no matter what. And Chalmers is of the mind that he's going to take Floyd to the distance, and he's going to cause some records. But they say that every fight. So, I mean, we'll see. I feel like Floyd just needs to go ahead and get a TV show or something and go sit down somewhere. Now from another fighter who is
It
actually,
wouldn't make as much.
I know, I don't get it. Now another fighter who is returning, John Jones, is actually going to be returning after a long period of time. Now, the question I want to ask you, he recently stated that even after this fight, he wants Stipe. Now, Stipe also stated that he's calling for the winner of the Jones Gane fight and said that I want whoever's left in July. So, are we on a collision course to have a Jones Stipe fight? I mean, they're both kind of calling for it. So, what are we looking at?
Just real quick. He's not fighting a former champion exhibition. This is what Black Incorporated said for those who are listening and can't see. The
Mhm.
exhibitions were to get him prepared to fight a former champ, not based on what Floyd has said, Black. So if you got like some you got some receipts, I'm welcome to receive those. But based on what I've heard the man say out his own mouth, he is on a legalized bank robbery tour, and he will continue to rob banks legally as long as people continue to open the vault and say, come in and take my money. But with what you were saying about Bones and Stipe, John has always been delusional. You have to have a certain level of delusion to be a
Mhm.
professional fighter.
Mhm.
He needs to be concerned about Cyril Gane. He doesn't need to be looking forward to anybody's fight. Now, for Stipe, that makes sense. He fights once, sits out a year and a half or so, comes back and fights again. To say, hey, I'll be ready in July, that makes sense
Right.
because that's just what Stipe does. For John, I don't think, yeah, John last fought just before the pandemic hit. He's hit the bottle, shooting up in the air, all kinds of tomfoolery. Now you're fighting at heavyweight. Now, granted, he did take his time to put on the weight properly, but what does that look like in a live fight? Because he hasn't had that yet. Everything has still been uh, um, him sparring and getting ready. We don't know what he's going to look like. And most importantly, John has had a really good chin for 205. Can he take them heavyweight strikes? John has been nimble, all of his career, but he has slowed down over the past couple years. Will he be the faster fighter in there against the heavyweights? There are so many questions left to answer. He doesn't need to be looking forward to any fight. Now, granted, I'll say this: belt or no belt, a fight with Stipe will sell. But he needs to be concerned about Ghana.
So, okay. I know training in the gym for his body bag, and he's doing
okay. All right. Well, Black, I look forward to seeing how things go with it. I would love to see him fight a former champ. Since you got some inside knowledge, do you know any of the former champs he's talking about fighting?
I don't know if anybody wants to see him fight Bronner. I don't see that.
I would pay to see that.
Why? For what? We don't even know. With all due respect, we don't even know if Bronner's going to win the bout that's supposed to happen this weekend. So why would we do that?
Because of the animus between them. I would love to see that.
That ain't gonna do much. I got two cousins that want to fight too all the time, and I ain't trying to see them fight just because they got animosity. So Drew says John Jones is a freak of nature. I don't think he'll lose any weight class. Now that's interesting that Julie said that, because I was going to ask you that. Now you are literally one of maybe two people that I know or that I've talked to, or even through my research, that believes that there's a chance that John, could take a loss based off what you're saying. I guess the question that I ask you is, if he does take this loss, how do you feel as though that's going to be received, and then what will be next for him? Because clearly it wouldn't be Stipe, because he just took this loss. Like, there would be no point.
Okay. I like that. I would love to see that. Like I said, when they got together at Rising, or I should say when they were on the same Rising, at the same Rising press conference, that being Pac-Man and Mayweather, that's what everybody was like, oh, we love to see that in an exhibition. So I would love to see that. As far as John Jones is concerned, where will he go after this? It's heavyweight. In the heavyweight division, if you win 2 fights, you can fight for the title again. And I want to say the person with the longest heavyweight reign was Stipe, and that was 3 fights, maybe. So this division is known for turnover. Like, its entire existence, there's been much turnover. So he loses, go headline and fight again. I mean, look at what's his name that just got done getting demolished again? The Black Beast, Derek Lewis. He's still headlining, even though he's on like 3 fight losing streaks, and people are tuning in to see him fight and interested in seeing him fight. So the possibilities are endless in a loss.
I guess I'm like, as great as he is, that's like seeing like your favorite basketball or football player come back and you're like, yo, just retire, big dog, like call it a career. So I guess we'll see. So those are 2 big fights that you can kind of get prepared for coming up. Now we're going to take a quick break and give you a look at our sponsor, that Ozell brand break. You know how Voyze is about his Ozells. And when we come back, we're going to be discussing UFC Vegas 70. That main event is going to be big. The Voyce's marquee matchup is back. Bellator welterweight world championship unification match. And Voyce's favorite boxer of all time, Jake Paul, is back in the ring. We'll be right back.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals and peace and knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
I love that. I love that commercial. Voice, have you gotten any more feedback on your Ozells while you've been out?
No, I started to step out and kill him yesterday for President's Day. But I decided against it. Um, I got my eye on a Sleuth shirt, and I definitely got to get some Battlehawks gear. It's the same kind of blue, so I can step in the streets and be the shinobi, the assassin that the Lord has called me to be.
And the fact is that I have to take you serious because I know that that's truly how you feel. So it's all good. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, Voice, the Miner takes on Superman as two top 10 light heavyweights battle in the main event of UFC Vegas 70. And I'm going to butcher his name, this poor man. Krylov takes on Ryan Spann. They're going to be meeting in the Apex facility in Nevada. Now, the two fighters are actually looking to posture themselves for a title shot with the division literally currently in flux. Yuri is actually injured. Glover Teixeira is walking into retirement. Now, the Miner is looking to solidify himself in UFC. He's actually 4-4 since returning to UFC in 2018. But 3 of those losses actually came against top fighters in the division. Meanwhile, Spann is coming off a first-round knockout win against Dominic Reyes in November, and he's 8-2 in the octagon. So, Voice, with the light heavyweight division looking the way it is, what do you think about these two fighters posturing themselves for a title shot, and what should we be looking for in this matchup?
What we should be looking for is a short night. Both of these fighters are excellent when it comes to the striking department. They're both electric fighters. As far as what to expect afterward, expect to see them fight at least one more time, if not 2 more times, because even though the division is in flux, with your new champion, Jamal Hill, whenever you got a new champion, that opens up doors. But I mean, you spoke about their losses. When you're losing to Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker, if you're beating someone, are you going to leapfrog Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker? Unless you're fighting them, no, you're not. Those are the 2 losses that Ryan Spann has had, the Superman Spann has had. When it comes to Krylov, yeah, he was in the UFC, was out of the UFC, came back to UFC, and since he's been back, he's won, 2 in a row over Volkan Ozdemir. That's a good win. That's a solid win. And then he also beat Alexander Gustafsson, who I can't tell you when he won last. He lost to Paul Craig and Magomed Ankalaev. Again, are you going to leapfrog fighters that you lost to with a win? Probably not. He also lost to Jan Blachowicz, former champion, Glover Teixeira, who's not there anymore. So there's still a lot of ground that has to be made up on both of their ends. Like I said, they have to win at least one more time. But with all those names that I said, don't forget, those people have to be in play as far as the title is concerned as well. And let us not forget, hey, V.
What's up, V?
We're so honored to be graced by your presence. Put your hands together for Nora Tish herself. All right. But let's not forget that there's someone else in play at light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. And that's the middleweight champion. He's said, I want to come back and avenge my master. I mean, this is a real life kung fu movie. You beat my master. Now you must die. So we got that going on with Pao Tan. He's looking to come and beat up Jamal Hill. So there's so much stuff going on at the top of the light heavyweight division. These guys have some time. They got some time.
Now the interesting thing about Jamal Hill is that in doing the research and reading up, I'm seeing not many people are even respecting him as a champion. I definitely want to get make sure y'all check out the V Report.
Yes.
Love that show. But that
Time tomorrow.
many people are not respecting him as a champion. So it's one of those things where it's like the division is completely in flux, and then people are completely unsure, probably until Yuri comes back. So do you think that it's gonna take for Yuri to come back for people to still have more confidence in it? Or are you under the belief also that currently the champion may only be a paper champion?
Well, I mean, he's not a paper champion. I'll say that. The only other division that has probably seen more or as much turnover as heavyweight is light heavyweight. Before John Jones, it was not common for a champion. What's going on, Yosef Beether?
That's my brother. It's Joseph Bethia.
Oh, Joseph. I'm gonna call him Yosef.
Butchering names, sir.
Hey, well, his mama named him Yosef. I'm gonna call him Yosef. So, or I should say, she spelled it Yosef. So, I'm going with the phonetic pronunciation thereof. Anyway, what were we talking about? Because that threw me all the way.
Talking about the current light heavyweight division.
All right, yeah, I'm laughing too, Yosef. That's your name, man. Your name is Yosef. I don't care what nobody say. You Yosef in my book. That's my dog.
Brother in Christ, you got to talk about that with Stephanie. I'm not touching that. But again, with the light heavyweight division, so there's so much influx.
So much, yeah. I mean, this division again before John Jones came, there was always a lot of turnover. We look at someone like Rashad Evans, who won the title and then lost it. Who did he lose it to? Lyoto Machida. He says the Machida era. That was the only time Machida had the belt. The belt constantly went through hands. So again, he's not a paper champ because of winning the title and winning it in the fashion that he did. Will people respect him as champion if he doesn't fight Yuri? It depends on who all he fights and who he beats and how he beats them. Let him fight Alex, and let him beat the sleeves off of Alex. That will give him all the credit that there needs to be given. And like I said, still have other people, the former champs like Jan. You still have Anthony Smith, who's always in the mix. There's so many different people out there that can be fought. That like I said, a win here, it keeps them in the mix. But there's so much stuff going on at the top. And Jamal, he's a champ. He's a champ until he's not.
Okay. Well, we finally have another Voyces Marquee matchup, which I know you're excited about. I'm actually excited about this also. This week's Voyces Marquee matchup is going to provide a UFC return at UFC Vegas 70 when Tatiana Suarez makes her return after injury. I believe almost 2-3 years. It's like 1,354 days from a neck injury when she faces Montana De La Rosa. So, Voyce, give us your breakdown on this and tell us why this is this week's Voyces Marquee matchup.
Well, it's the Voyces Marquee matchup for the reasons that you mentioned. You have Tatiana Suarez, undefeated, tough champion. So she won the Ultimate Fighter. In her time with the UFC, 3 fights. Like I said, she's undefeated. So victories in all of them, beating the likes of Nina Nunez and the former champion, now former 2-time champion in Carla Cookie Monster Esparza. Her wrestling is like a human cheat code. So seeing her come back after, as you stated, a long time away, 3 years, nearly 4 years. It'll be 4 years in June that she hasn't fought. And it's not like she's wanted to stay out. She tried to come back in 2001 versus Roxanne Modafferi, and she had to pull out of that fight. So what is this person who many people saw as, at the very least, an up-and-coming title contender, possibly champion? What does she have left in the tank now, being away from the sport for so long? Has she fully recovered from her injury? Or is this something that's going to plague her career? what is she going to look like? Because with a victory and a dominant victory, she vaults herself back into title contention. And they put her in there really in a favorable matchup with Montana De La Rosa. Montana has had mixed results, to say the least, over the past 5 fights or so. So, she's in there in a favorable matchup with someone that, if she can do all the stuff that she normally does, being Suarez, she should be able to beat, especially seeing as De La Rosa last lost to Macy Barber, who is a wrestling heavy kind of fighter. She's lost to another wrestling heavy fighter, or I should say grappling heavy fighter, in Viviane Araujo. She's beaten some people, but she hasn't beaten many people. And the people that she's beaten are either 1 foot out of the door in the UFC, or they are gone. So we'll like I said, they put her in there favorably to see what does she have, because there's a lot of promotional and just star power capital that has been placed behind her, and they want to continue to mold her. And I want to see, what does she have, because this is going to say a lot. She can't get past Montana De La Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks volumes as to where she is in her career.
It's definitely going to be exciting to see, especially with her return. She's excited about her return. She's spoken in the media about everything that it took for her to get back here. So it's definitely going to be something great to see on an already great card. I told you.
I stand corrected. Although I will say that probably subliminally, that you might have been thinking Joseph, but you made it your own, mama, and I stand with you. I stand with you, Joe, Seth. But in my mind, I'm gonna say Joseph. Unless you tell me, you know what? Let me not say that, because you telling me how it's pronounced, mama, and I'm gonna respect your gangster. I'm gonna respect your pronunciation, and I'm gonna call the man Joseph because his mama named him Joseph.
So moving on before Voyze actually gets knocked out.
Look, I saw you booking the megabus ticket to come down and finally put me in my place. So I'm sorry, mama. Please forgive me.
I'm not, brother. We got miles. That's like an hour flight she's gonna take. So our first championship bout of the weekend is going to be a Bellator welterweight world championship unification bout that's going to be taking place Saturday, when the current champion Yaroslav Amosov.
You nailed it, for real. You nailed it.
I know. Listen. How you pronounce it? I'll be on that joint for 3 hours for y'all every week, so I hope y'all enjoy it. He's going to be facing interim champion Logan Storley in a unification battle. Now, after almost a year and a half away from the cage due to the war, Dynamo is actually looking for at least a repeat performance against Storley. Now, he recently stated, once central Ukraine got liberated and the city I'm from, once that area became free of Russians, I started to kind of feel like I was getting a lot of pressure from my family and my friends and loved ones. He said they told him, listen, our immediate area is liberated. It's free. It's time for you to return to fighting and use your notoriety and your platform to be the voice of what's going on out here, as opposed to being physically boots on the ground. He said it wasn't an easy decision, but there was a lot of pressure from them. So he decided that he was going to do it. Now, Dynamo is actually hoping that a unification win can actually provide a small bit of happiness for his country. He also stated he's motivated now more than ever for the people and the fans and what it means for them. That would even help me in training. There were even times in our training when I'm feeling very down, and then I realized some of my friends right now are sitting in trenches, getting shot at, and rockets are flying everywhere. He said compared to them, he has it easy. Now, he's one of 10 fighters in Bellator history to win a title with an undefeated record. Meanwhile, the 14-1 Storley is literally coming to the bout with 3 wins since receiving his only loss to Dynamos in 2020. So, Voyze, with all the emotion and all the feelings that are going into this fight from both men. On one side, you have a man returning from war who's looking to represent greatly for his country, and on the other side, you have a man who's looking to avenge his only loss. What should we take from this bout, and what are your thoughts on Dynamo's statements?
Hold on. First, let me let us respect the mother of the house. So you are most welcome, Matt Marcel. Please forgive me for in my jesting, even coming close to anything that may look like disrespect, which is why I had to check myself real quickly.
That's no Philly, big dog. You don't do that, man. I tried to warn you.
Well, I mean, North Philly, South St. Louis, it doesn't really matter. Mothers deserve our respect, and I don't want to do anything that even hints at possible disrespect.
She ain't worried about you, boys.
That's fine. I'm worried.
She ain't worried about you.
I
Now, I ain't gonna lie. She'll cut you. All right. Now I'm my mother's child. I know my mother. My mother will cut you, but she ain't worried about you, boys.
Okay. That's fine. Again, because of who my boss is, I want to make sure that since I gotta give an account for all my words anyway, that the words I'm saying, whether in jest or truthfully, that they respect and not respect, but that they represent who I represent.
Send her a free T-shirt. There you go.
Okay, that's doable. That's doable. All right, now back to the question, because I can't remember anything.
I know, boys, and I knew you was gonna fall out of favor. I knew you.
Okay, so what do we have to look forward to?
Okay, so
I just needed a minute to.
I want to get your thoughts on the statements that he made, because that's definitely a big deal. But also,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on the emotion that's actually coming from both men? You got two different men who are literally fighting for two very different reasons that you can't discount either one. One is fighting for an entire country. One is basically fighting for his honor, because the loss that he took, I believe, was actually a split decision.
Mm-hmm.
So
he didn't think he lost it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So what are your thoughts on that, and what should we expect from this bout?
Again, we because this is the second time they fought each other. There are a lot of question marks, just strictly based on how long Storley has been out of the game. The war started about a year ago, so it's been over a year since he's fought. Now his fight has more weight behind it, because he's literally fighting for his country in the cage, as he has fought for his country outside of the cage. All right, hold on. I gotta let her come in.
Hey, Ma, I love you, but me and you gonna have to box if you keep disrupting the show. I love you.
Look, she's not disrupting the show. She's making her comments, and
Listen,
I'm interjecting them.
I'm gonna have to fight both of y'all.
Oh well, hey, that you already said she could. So she could.
You can't keep interrupting the show. You gotta apologize after, good sir.
Okay. Well, as long as I'm directing. But Amosov is fighting for he's fighting for his people. He knows that not that Ukraine wasn't tuned into the fights before, but are they even more vested in their fighters now? Absolutely. Just like when Usyk fought, or when Loma has fought, it's like they are all in and all behind their fighters, because their fighters are literally galvanizing the nation. So he has extra pressure on himself like that. Again, seeing how Loma has performed, seeing how Usyk has performed, will he be able to perform as well as these champions and continue to lift the spirits of his nation? So he's got that, but he also has in the back of his mind, I beat this dude before. Where, as you stated with Storley, he has in the back of his mind, I think I beat this dude last time. He didn't, but I think I beat this dude last time. What can I do differently this time that will bring about a change? I'll say this. As someone who is vaunted for their wrestling, being Storley, because Amosov is as well, they both are Grappling is both their primary base as far as martial arts is concerned, but for someone who really all they've done is grapple, being Storley, what he did versus Neiman Gracie is going to be really looked at in this fight. Is he going to, because in that fight, you saw a much improved striker in Logan Storley. She called you by your whole government name. For those again who can only hear, Mama Steph said, "I got a spoon with your name on it."
It's like
William.
your mother coming to your football game and trying to embarrass you. I will not be embarrassed. I was a bad kid. I just talked about this in my interview. See, I want to smoke. It's smoke o'clock. So whatever she want to do, we can do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, be sure to tune in for the post fight show later on this week. I think.
But boy, you getting me in trouble. Just finish talking about your fight, sir.
Okay, so I mean, I'm pretty much done. What if Storley can do what he did to Gracie against Amosov, then he can walk away and new. But with all of the weight behind Amosov, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how he performs. Will the weight break him or will it buoy him?
I think it's a really big deal. Just because I feel like the emotion that he saw, I sat and I watched some of his statements and some of the things that he said, and just seeing the emotions that he showed. Now, I didn't really see much on Storley, but even reading up on what Ukraine feels for Dynamo is on another level. So it's going to be amazing to literally see how that plays out. Seeing that unification bout is going to be great. Make sure you tune into that on Saturday, and I'm sure Voyze is actually going to be covering that literally on Twitter, like he always does, because you got multiple screens ready.
Yeah. Hopefully, depending on where the fight takes place, I want to say this one is in Ireland. Yeah, hopefully I can get some virtual credentials to speak to the fighters, possibly before and after the fight.
Definitely. Now, one fight that's not going to have any love lost is going to be the One Fight Night 7 that's going to be taking place from the boxing stadium in Bangkok. Now, if you ask Fabricio Andrade, this weekend's fight is going to be quick and it's going to include a knockout. Now, with the bantamweight title on the line, the two fighters are looking to run it back after last October's disappointing bout, which saw a low blow literally cost Andrade a title opportunity. When they asked him about it, he said, "I felt like I lost the fight because at the end of the fight, I didn't have the belt. I didn't have the bonus, and I didn't have any of those things. I felt like I lost the fight, so I was really just really upset with everything. I'm faster than him. I'm more powerful than he is, and I'm more skilled than he is. So I just have to have patience, take my time, and knock him out." Now, for those who don't know, he's saying this about a man who is nicknamed the Hands of Stones. Now, he, however, has stated he has his own plans in mind. He recently stated, "My goal for next year is to regain the title. I'll take what's mine, and I also want to stay champion. I'm going to try to do some super fights with some special rules and maybe some submission grappling, and I want to make history. I still have a lot to achieve in my career, and I'm not going to let this one bout stop me." So it sounds like there's really no love lost between the two after last October's fight, which many were excited about, and the way that it ended says a lot. I know Hands of Stone, he just literally couldn't continue with the fight, and so it ended up being called off. So, Voyze, what are your thoughts on the statements by both of these gentlemen, and what are we looking forward to with this fight? Because it sounds like there's going to be a lot of fireworks here.
There should be a lot of fireworks, and if you saw the first fight, then you saw all the fireworks. I mean, Wonder Boy was putting it on Lineker. I mean, he was hurting him something fierce, and it seemed as if everything that Wonder Boy said in the lead up to the last fight was true. You're old. I'm the new generation. Because he got in, and Lineker, he threw his bombs like he normally does, but it seemed as if Wonder Boy had his timing down pat and was just drilling Lineker the whole time. Unfortunately, he he caught him with that low blow, and it was not your run of the mill kind of low blow. The fight needed to be stopped because he broke the man's cup. I'm sure he'll have a steel cup on this time. But you know, when you get your cup broke, yeah, the fight is done. The fight is done. I mean, even if they could go get another cup and put it in, come on, man. The cup was broken. That's you're done. You're done. So to hear Lineker say the things that he's saying, that's good. That's what he should say, because his career has been marred by his lack of discipline. He was on pace to fight for a title in the UFC at 125, but he kept going overweight. Then he was on pace to fight for a title at 135, and he kept going overweight. It's like, dude, that's why they let go. It's like, look, you can go. You haven't been making weight. You won't make weight. You won't do right. You can go. So to have that happen, to leave the UFC, be undefeated in one, take out the long reigning champion in Bibiano Fernandez, get the belt, and really, it's hard to call someone a champion if they don't defend. In your first possible defense, you getting walked. I mean, absolutely walked. And the only thing that saved you was a broken cup. You know, he has a lot to prove. His legacy is on the line. He is going to be, or I should say, how he's known is going to be shaped strongly by the outcome of this fight. Because if he loses, he is everything negative that has been said about him all this time. You know, you only had a cup of coffee with a major championship. You know, you couldn't even hold that, but you know, for one time. And the guy that you beat, Fernandez, like I said, longtime champion, which means beating him is not so out of the ordinary because he's been champion for a long time. He really needs to win and win emphatically. For Wonder Boy, everything he said. Now, I'll say this: him saying, I feel like I lost the fight. His tone has changed recently. He said, I'm coming to get what's mine. I feel like I won the fight. I'm the uncrowned champion. You know, this is what he said recently. So for him to say, I feel like I lost it, but then to say I'm the uncrowned champion, which one is it? You know, so to me, that shows a bit of possible immaturity. He's 25. You really don't hit your mental peak until about 25, 27. So shows possibly some immaturity, possibly some unstableness. I don't know, because those are two wildly different statements to make. I don't feel like I won. I'm the uncrowned champion. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Will he have the mind state necessary to come in and pick up where he left off? Will, now that Lineker has had some time to heal and had some time to be in there, know what he brings, will he come at it a totally different way? Kind of like, and what it put me in the mind of was the Corey Anderson. What is Bellator's light heavyweight champion's name? Oh Lord, it escapes me, but he's a member of Team Fedor. They fought each other, and Corey Anderson was whooping him, absolutely whooping him, and it was a disqualification. They fought again. It was like it was not enough time for him to make the adjustments, and he came back and destroyed Anderson and destroyed him at his own game in wrestling. Was good, Mr. Redeemed. Looking forward to you all show tomorrow.
That's what's up. Amazing. I love the show.
Yeah, too. Yeah. Not the same podcast. Make sure you tune in. But yeah, so that's what it put. That's what I was thinking of. It's like, will this be, you know, a repeat of what took place, you know, just a couple months ago in Bellator? We'll find out when the pin drops, the cage door locks, the thumbs go up, and they start the clock.
Well, I mean, I like what you mentioned about him being young, because you say he's only 25. His last loss was probably 2016.
Yeah,
So he
16,
does
17,
probably
something
come
like that.
in with a lot of arrogance. But when you're called Wonder Boy, I would expect that, especially considering the fact that based off of everything that people have talked about their previous fight, it looks like he was winning solidly. You even stated it yourself. So it would be interesting to see. I wonder if he comes into it overconfident, and that overconfident gets him rocked, because we always say it only takes one punch. So we'll definitely see what happens. Now, finishing out your weekend is Voice's favorite fighter of all time. I think Voice got the pajamas and everything. Jake
Mm-hmm.
Paul is back in the ring after making headlines outside of them for the last few months. Now, this time he's going to face an individual who many believe will be his toughest challenge yet, in Tommy Fury, which of course is the younger brother of WBC champion Tyson Fury. Tommy's unbeaten with an 8-0 record and 4 wins by knockout. Now, many people are going to remember Paul was actually scheduled to fight Fury again. He was actually originally scheduled to fight him August 6th of last year. And when Fury had to pull out due to travel issues, this led to the infamous Hasim Rahman bout, which never took place, that was scheduled to actually take place to replace it. Now, the bout is going to be billed as the Truth, and it's scheduled to take place February 26th in Saudi Arabia. Now, for Paul, this fight is going to be different because the majority of his victories have literally come against MMA veterans. Paul's trainer, BJ Flores, who is a fighter himself, is under the impression that not only will Paul win, but this is going to be a statement fight for him. BJ said Jake's punches harder, he's smarter, he has a higher boxing IQ, and I feel like he does a lot of things that will give Tommy a lot of problems. Now, on Tommy's end, he's facing a lot of pressure because Tyson is literally making it seem like this is just going to be a cakewalk for him. I already know who's saying that. Rick, we don't want to hear it. So I gotta
Look,
ask.
he's trying to get a rise out of me, but I refuse to engage.
I gotta ask, Voice, what are your thoughts on this, and what are your thoughts on what BJ Flores said as far as this literally being a possible statement win for Jake Paul?
Well, if he wins, this will be a statement win because this will be the first time that he has fought an actual boxer. He was supposed to fight a boxer in Hasim Rahman Jr. You spoke about that in August, but that's not the first time this fight got called off. When he fought Tyron Woodley for the second time, he was supposed to fight Fury, and Fury pulled out. We really didn't know whether or not this fight was going to happen until I saw, or I should say, and anything could still happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that Fury is in Saudi Arabia gives me much more reason to think that we will see this fight happen. Yeah, this will be a statement fight because, again, this is the first time he's fighting a boxer. Now, granted, I think that Anderson Silva will beat Tommy Fury right now. That's just me. And we know what happened with Anderson and Jake. That was Jake's most competitive fight as of yet. So, what will happen if Fury, does what he's supposed to do? Then he should walk through this guy. We know that the animus is there because of all the back and forth and all the times of fight being on and being off. Fury should have the proper motivation to get in there. On top of the fact that that Paul has talked real bad about your father, made him so mad he took off his shirt in public. Now, somebody making your daddy who should not ever have his shirt off ever in life do so in public. You need to do something about that. So Fury should have the proper motivation for this fight. Paul really, especially with the way that he's looked, he should be favored coming in because he has been. The things that BJ Flores is saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
He is fast. We know he does have pop. we know that he has been improving. And that's the one thing that everyone around him has said. He being uh being Paul has taken this seriously. And this will be a show of how seriously he's taken it. We got another comment here. Oh, no, it will not. No, yes, he is the greatest of attention taking. That's what he is.
I feel like with the way y'all talk about Jake Paul, it feels like the only person that could beat him is the Shogun of Harlem. And I'm not doing that either. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, what he's doing for the sport is great because he's putting more eyes on the sport and what he's trying to bring awareness and healthcare to a lot of people. But before we close out on this, I want to get your thoughts on Jake Paul literally being in line for a WBC world ranking.
That's a farce. That's a farce.
That's a great
because who has he fought? Who's he fought? He's fought nothing but former MMA fighters, with the exception of Tommy Fury. Now he beats Tommy Fury, okay, but to be in the top 10 at the WBC, it's a farce. Now, hold on. So what is Rob saying? Jake Paul winning would be Fury looking at the fight as a joke. Yeah, okay. And I agree with you, Rob. That would be him looking at the fight as a joke, but he's been looking at this fight as a joke for quite some time. Okay. And I
mean, the winner essentially is getting a WBC ranking for this. And
I could see that.
Two fighters that nobody really believes in. One is considered a joke, and the other is Tyson Fury's little brother. So it's like I'm almost just kind of wondering how serious is the sport of boxing being taken right now when most people are taking Jake Paul as a joke.
I don't think people are taking Jake Paul as a joke anymore when it comes to boxing, because as I stated, he is taking it seriously. He has beat everyone that he's been in there with, including though they may have been way past their prime, Anderson Silva, though they were still gun shy, Tyron Woodley. He's still taken out everyone that he's fought, and or at least knocked down and taken out, the folks that he's fought. And he's taking the fights seriously. So I don't think he's a joke, but I think him being ranked, that's a stretch. Tommy, not as much, because he has been fighting much longer and has been boxing actual boxers. This will be the first time that he's faced a boxer. So for him to be ranked is a joke. But hey, we saw on Black Prime not too long ago, my man Bud fight for the title against the number 6 ranked dude out there. So it's boxing, and then things happen.
Rob makes
and he's go ahead.
And I wanted to bring that up because they asked Eddie Hearn what he thought about Jake Paul possibly getting that, and these were his thoughts. He said sometimes governing bodies have to live in that commercial world as well. Tommy Fury is a proper fighter, and Jake Paul will make a statement if he won that fight. Not a statement that he can challenge for a world title, but ultimately there's a little bit of publicity in there. Is it right? Not really, because there's fighters that deserve to be in the top 15 much more than Jake Paul, but it's the world we live in. But, Hearn did go on to say mentally he feels like Jake Paul is going to break Tommy Fury. He said, I think he'll mess with Tommy mentally. And I just think by the time they get in the ring, if they do get in the ring, Tommy will be defeated before the fight even takes place. And I think that Jake Paul will win by knockout.
Yeah. Let's remember that at least not his first fight, but his second fight was promoted by Eddie Hearn. So for him to have some favorable things to say about Jake Paul, take that for what it's worth. But the thing she's saying, he's right. He's right. And Rick is here saying, I think that's absolutely correct. He is a slimmer, well, not just slimmer. He is a toned younger, more brash Butterbean. Yeah.
I can't even remember two Butterbean fights.
I can't either. I can remember him in them Rocky shorts, but that's about it.
I mean, it is what it is. I listen. I'm not knocking it. He's doing some great things for the sport. I'm just wondering how serious people are going to take it, especially if he wins this fight, and then let's say he tries to go after who he said he wanted to fight Nate Diaz also. So I'd be interested to see how that plays out in the future. But that's definitely the top bouts that we have for this weekend. I know you wanted to give your last thoughts on two more bouts that we didn't really cover this weekend, and I think one is actually recently called off. So give us your thoughts on those.
Yeah. As far as just other fights coming up, Martin Yuan is on the card for one championship. He's always entertaining. I know who he was supposed to face is not available, so he'll be fighting someone else. Broner is trying to regain his relevance. We talked about him a bit before when we were talking about Mayweather. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I know that Tevin Farmer and Mickey Bay is the co-main event of the Broner Williams fight. That should be very interesting. And then, to my knowledge, Sabril Matisse and Jeremiah Ponce are fighting for the vacant IBF strap at 140 pounds. You got people like Regis Prograis, who just got the belt back. You got Warrington, who's out there looking to reassert himself, even though he's the champion. So it's a lot of movement at 140, and whoever wins this bout will be right in the mix there. But you said a fight was called off. What fight was called off?
The Broner fight was actually apparently called
off,
due to a broken jaw, I believe. Yeah.
Whose jaw is broken?
Let's see. I have to look it up. Let me see if I can look it up real quick here. But it was Price.
Okay.
Price's jaw was broken, and it was called off. So
wow. Well, that I guess we'll have to wait to see how he does and what he does. Wow, that's I hate to hear that, because if anyone needed this, it was Broner, because he was really...
Michael Williams Jr. That was postponed. Williams actually suffered a broken jaw in sparring this week, according to his father. He was actually the third opponent to withdraw from that fight with Broner. The original opponent was Ivan Roddick, replaced by Hank Lindy. So Broner is going to be seeking another opponent, and he probably won't fight again until April. So
understood. Yeah, that would do it. And when you said that, I was thinking it was when you said Price, I was thinking it was Williams. But okay, that's really sad. How you getting your jaw broke on the week of the fight, though?
It happens. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get a lucky punch. People get lucky punches all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. We just wanted to get you prepared for this weekend's bouts. Make sure that you are following The Voyze on Twitter. The Voyze does some amazing call by call. Sometimes he even scores the fights as they're happening. Also, thank you for tuning in with us every Tuesday, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time, Smoke O'Clock here on the main card. MTMV Sports. If you are not subscribed and follow us, you are missing out. We are literally sports fans like yourselves, and we continuously every week do work, editing. The family is constantly doing articles, doing research. We have some of the most amazing people, MTMV Sports. You have, I don't even want to miss any of the shows, but everything from Not the Same to MVP University, Full 94, our HBCU coverage, the V Report. We're giving you everything that you need, and we're continuously growing. So make sure you get on the bandwagon with us right now, because when we blow ocean weight, it's different. I'm not signing no autographs to nobody who has subscribed already. You can't be no fan, none of that. And also make sure you visit our website, MTMVPN. Get your merch. Read some of those articles. Voyze has a great article on there. Our team is constantly growing. We're doing this not only for ourselves, but we do this for the love and for you all. So please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and let us know what you think. Voyze, take us out. You didn't beef with my mom. You didn't call my brother different names. You done all kinds of stuff this episode. You done let Rick come on, and now Rick got Jake Fury winning the heavyweight championship of the world.
Jake Fury.
It's where we're ending. Jake Fury is exactly what I said. We're ending Black History Month in a weird way, but I'm blessed to be here with you every Tuesday, sir. I appreciate you. Give us your final thoughts.
Until next time, fight the good fight.